Hi, I'm Dakota here at the patch office located in Spencer, West Virginia. Today we are going to be going over a Pac-Man maze game tutorial. Let's get started. So first, we're going to want to open up Scratch, and we're going to go to the new file, and we're going to make a create. Here I already have a Pac-Man, a ghost, a win and a lose, and an objective already pre-made. You guys can already paint your own or use your own from the Scratch website. So we're going to start with Pacman. Pacman is going to be our roamer of this maze. So we're going to code him first. So we're going to need our arrow blocks. So I'm just going to drag out 4 of these and then change them. So we need an up, down, right and left arrow. So once we have those, we're going to change the points on which they face. So if we're facing left, we want to point -90 degrees when we touch the left arrow. When we want to touch the up arrow, we want to point in the direction of 0. We want to move down, we want to do 180. And we want to move to the right. We want to look 90 degrees. So after that, we're going to need 2 costumes. So I have a basic open, and then I have his wide open to where he's moving along. So we're going to need to, every time we press these, we're going to need him to change his costume. So we're going to need 4 next costume blocks. Then we're going to need some move blocks. So we're going to change this to move 10 steps. Let's go ahead and add those in. Alright, we have 4 done. We need to move on to our next one. So we're going to need a green arrow. Now when we click this green arrow up here, we're going to want him to start at his first original costume, which is, for me, called Pacman Open Sprites. Then we're going to want him to point 90 degrees. That way he's just facing. Then we want him to go to a certain coordinate. So my coordinates here are x is 1 and y is -93. So we're going to need him to set here. So say we are over here. When the green flag is clicked, he will move back. So we're going to set our size. Now here I wanted him to fit within the maze, so I set his size to 10. So we're going to set him to 10%. It's another one down. We need to move on to our next green flag. Now here we're going to play some music. So we're going to call this intro. So every time this green flag gets clicked, it's going to play some music. We're going to move on to our last one. Now we're going to need, if all these blocks get pressed, so we're going to need an up arrow, a down arrow, a right arrow, and a left arrow. So after we grab all of these, we're going to want a forever block and 4 if blank then blocks. So once we get our arrows inserted, we're going to want them to play sounds. So when he moves, we want him to make a sound. So we're going to have him play the chomp sounds for every one of these. Let's go ahead and run that. And our arrows and music are playing perfectly. Let's move on to our ghost, Inky. He's my favorite, so we're going to use him. We're going to need 3 green flag blocks. This will be all the ones we need. So we're going to set him to 120 to make him look bigger, because I have his costume shrunk down a lot to where he will fit right here in the middle. Then we'll have him go to a certain position. So we're going to use the X and Y block. So we want him to start here, and we'll have him point 90 degrees. So he'll just be looking a certain direction. Then we want him to wait 1 second in a forever block. So 1 second. And if I had more costumes here, we would be using the next costume block. So we're just gonna go ahead and put that in there. Alright, we're done with that one. Moving on to our next one, we're gonna need a forever block. So in this forever block, we're gonna need an if and then block. So if he touches, let's say Pacman, which he's going to eventually, we're wanting him to broadcast something. We want him to broadcast a new message called lose. So what that does is when we get over to our loose sprite, it's going to stop everything. Moving on to our third and final green flag, we're going to have him wait 4 seconds before he gets out. So after that, we want him to start gliding, moving outwards. So we're going to need him to start moving. So we want him to glide to -8, 23. And then after that, we're going to have him glide over to here. And then we're going to start using forever blocks. So after this, we're just going to use a few movements. So we're going to move him to here. Move him here. Up a bit. Move this over here. Have him go next to the fruit, so that way he'd be guarding it just a little bit. Want him to go here, all the way over to here, down one, to here, and then he will rinse and repeat. As if he were back here. So we're going to need to copy these coordinates, 65, 22, so when we hit this green flag, he should be following everything here. Watch him move. And he's repeating everything. So our ghost, Inky, is done, so we're going to send him back to the start. Now we're going to move on to our wind block. As you can see, it's currently hidden, so we're going to go ahead and pop him up. We're only going to need 2 events. We're going to need 1 green flag, and we're going to need a when I receive. Now he's going to receive a different message. We're going to call this win. So when he receives this message, he's going to stop everything. He's going to show up, and he's going to just stop everything. So we're going to need to go down here to control and stop all. Now for our green flag, we're just going to simply have him hide at the beginning, so we don't want to see him at the beginning. Moving on to our loose sprite, we're going to need the same things, a green flag and when I receive, but instead time we're going to need lose. So here we're just going to have him hide at the beginning, but when he receives this, we're going to have him show up, and we're going to have him play a sound, and then we're going to have him stop everything. So when Pacman touches Inky or Inky touches the Pacman, it's going to send the lose broadcast over here. And it's going to play the sound and it's going to stop everything. Moving on to our final objective, we need our objective sprite. So Pacman likes fruit, so we're going to give him a strawberry to go after. So we're going to need a green flag. We're going to need another green flag as well, because this will be our variable one. We're going to go ahead and start making our variables. This will be seconds. We're going to have set seconds to 0. So we want to see how long we can last in this maze without getting touched by Inky up there. We're going to have it set to forever. We're going to have it wait 1 second so it doesn't count repeatedly. And we'll have it change seconds by 1. Now that one's done. We move on to our final piece. So we're going to have this one as score. So we're going to have it set score to 0. We can move these wherever we want. I'm going to put this one down here and I'm going to have score up here. Now we're going to have it set its size to 25%. So that way it will fit right up there in the corner. And we're going to have it stay here. Now we're going to have it wait until it gets touched by Pacman. So we need to find the wait until block. So we're going to need until touching Pacman. We'll have it play the sound of the fruit. I need to pull up our sounds. Go to my files here. Pull up fruit. I'm going to play this. And he's going to change the score by 1. So I'm going to get down to variables and change score by 1. Then it can move wherever you want, but we're going to have it instead just broadcast win. So we can keep repeating this after. So let's go ahead and run this. We don't want Inky touching us, so we're going to wait for him to go past it. And we did win. Now let's have Inky touch us. Now Inky did touch us, so we have our lose and we did have our win. Hopefully this gives you guys a little bit of a mindset of coding your own Pacman maze. Can't wait to see what you guys do with Scratch.